All right, welcome back to the Stan Simpson Show. Our topic today is success tips for women. We're joined now by Tricia Brunton, the founder of the Female Center of Excellence and Leadership. It started at Northeastern, now it's in Connecticut. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you focus on urban girls.
Yes.
Right? So talk to me about that. We had Jacqueline Vassell on segment one. She focuses on young girls.
Yep.
You're focusing on the young girls, the urban flavor. What's happening? What is your story? Why did that become your purpose and passion?
Well, I started the organization, the Female Center of Excellence and Leadership, long name. At Excel, for sure, at Northeastern University. My background, I was in foster care, and I was an independent student when I started at Northeastern University. I was a part of multiple organizations because I wanted to keep busy. I wanted to make sure that I experienced everything that college had to offer. But I was tired. I was exhausted.
From all the different...
From everything. Yeah. And I got to a point where I thought, you know, I'm really stretching myself thin. And what are the things that, all the groups that I was a part of, what are some of the things that these groups are offering me that I can use to develop myself? And that's really how Excel came about. Now, not many young women in the urban environment get to go to college or even think that they can go to college. I felt that I had a great opportunity that I provided myself to go to college, and the organization really wanted to focus on 5 different things, and it was mentoring, networking, education, community service, and scholarship. And I think all those things kind of come together to help young women, especially women who are socially and economically disadvantaged, to really develop themselves. And
you bring them where? When you get these young girls, you bring them, young women, you bring them to what part of Connecticut for the training?
We've been to multiple areas. So the one program that supports young women between 18 and 25, it's called My Retreat. And we've taken them to Martha's Vineyard. We've gone to Wisdom House we went to Wisdom House in Litchfield, and this year we're actually going to Guest House in Chester, Connecticut.
Okay, so you bring them out into the hinterland, so right,
yeah, different areas.
So all those places. So what does that do now? Expose these young urban girls, different venue. What's the biggest barrier to break down? We get these girls out there, right, and they're in a setting now with other professionals.
Yeah.
When you start talking to them straight talk, what's the biggest fear that they have?
What do I do with this information? How do I...
What information do you give them? You teach them?
Yeah, the information. So it's a development retreat that we do. It's an overnight developmental retreat. We focus on communication skills, leadership development, interviewing skills, self-esteem.
Do you find that they care? Is there sort of a fronting at first where they don't want to re-engage, or do you find that they're hungry to engage, or do you have to kind of break down some barriers to get them to get involved?
A little bit of both. I think the women that we get coming to the retreat are at different stages. Some of them know why they're there. Some of them are ready to go. And then some of them are just like, nah, fun experience, something that I can do, someone told me that I should do it, type of attitude towards the retreat. And I think once they're there, one of the things that we really try to focus on is self-esteem. Why are you here? How can you use this information to develop yourself? What are your goals? We do vision boards to help them really visualize what it is that they may want to achieve in life, and then kind of go from there. So one of the biggest things is, how do I take all this information and what do I do with it? Yeah. And then the next step is actually putting it into action.
Now, why do so many young girls and actually young people in general have self-esteem issues? Where did that stem from? Is that the home? Is it from school? Is it from peers? That's sort of a universal theme, right?
Yeah.
Confidence, self-esteem. Why don't more young people have better self-esteem?
I think it's a sense of belonging. Some of it does stem from your environment, where you grow up, whether you have a very supportive family. But I think it's just human nature of wanting to belong and wanting to be a part of something and figuring out, how do I fit in? Some people decide that they want to fit in by being like other people and changing who they are so that they can be a part of the crowd. And you tend to, I think, be less self-aware or self-confident when you're changing who you are to kind of fit into a module that's really not what it's supposed to be.
Right. Now, you said you grew up in was it a group home environment, or a foster home?
Yeah.
What was that like? Because you kind of said that must have been challenging.
It was tough.
Yeah,
it was tough. For me, it was, I'm originally from Trinidad, and coming from a third world country, if you will, to America, it was, how do I make it here? And for me, it was education. that was it. I had to educate myself, and it was for me, education was like a ticket. You know, so once I have an education, I can go to an employer and say, I'm educated, can I get in? And once I get in, I can prove that I can definitely do the job. So it was, as far as growing up in a group home in that type of environment, it was very tough because there wasn't a lot of support.
Right.
There was a lot of support from the social worker and stuff like that, but the actual home environment was not very supportive.
How hard was it to find positive role models and good references for you to model?
Gosh, at school. I had a professor, how I got into accounting, I had a professor that saw my knack for accounting and numbers, and he pushed me, tried to get me into AP accounting, and that's how I ended up in finance. I'm an FP&A leader now.
What's that?
Financial planning and analysis.
Okay, all right.
And just looking at people, I kind of had friends in my head, if you will, people that I saw that were amazing, that I wanted to learn more about them and learn how did they get to where they were. There was one woman who I actually, after high school, I was in a program called Inroads. And there was a young woman.
It's a college-bound program,
It's a college-bound program, but it's college, and it helps you get into corporate America.
Right.
So she came in, her name was Joelle, and she worked with Inroads at the time, and she amazed me. I looked at her and I thought, oh my gosh, like this, I want to be like her. And through her and her coming to our school and talking about the program, I applied to Inroads, and I was the only one in my school that did it.
In about 40 seconds, what was that moment where you said, okay, you learned a lot from these programs, educated yourself. When did you say, okay, I want to take this and put it on a platform where I can help others? What drove you to that?
Yeah, through our organization at Northeastern, we had events and workshops and stuff like that, and it was the process of seeing young women come and sit in the back and be very shy, and see them gradually come up to the point that they were leading discussions and they were taking the initiative, and total change and transformation in them, that they kind of found themselves, and they were able to take ownership and take on leadership roles.
They found themselves. You kind of found yourself too, right? You saw them come in, and you kind of found your right. So
definitely, I think once you see the light go off in some of the women that I work with, it's a very fulfilling feeling.
All right, well, the light's going off here for segment 3. We're going to take a break, come back. We're going to have, you're going to stick around. You're going to stick around.
Okay.
And Jacqueline's coming back. We have 2 of you. We'll talk about success tips for women and how to make sure you're being successful in the workplace. A path for success. Remember, catch our show 24/7. ctnow.com/Stan. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Don't go away. Success tips for women.